feet. Stinky, smelly, delicious, delectable. Drawing feet is really f***ing simple. Alright?
6, 7.
So a good way to draw feet, the C shape. Remember the C shape that I was going on about? With this oval, we can now kind of do in a C shape. Remember that C shape from the last video that I was talking a lot of? Backwards C shape. How I said, this one shape right here, no matter which way you put it, makes up the entirety of the human form, whether it be very slightly curved or very largely curved. It's C. Your whole body is made up of C's. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're going to draw a foot, right? Oh, you can start off with just a little, curve like that. Slight little curve right there. Slight little curve right there. Curve, curve. It's already a foot shape. Now, it's not exactly the best foot shape, but you can see, you know, even with just a little bit of refining, just like that, it's already more foot shape. Okay, and then you can add in a little C right here, right? Just a little C like right there. Okay, awesome. It's turning out amazing. Alright, then you also got the arch of the foot. Okay, well then let's just add in a slight little C shape right there. Oh, great. Oh, great. Another C shape. Right? And then right here is going to be the big toe. And then right here is going to be the pinky toe. So how can we discern, like, how easy it's going to be? Alright, well, let's add a little line, like, right there to mark the start of where the toes will start, right? And a good way that I like to simplify feet is literally just a little C shape right there. Because it's much like your hands. You got knuckles, but on your feet. Like they call them toe knuckles. It sounds wrong. But they're toe knuckles. Right? And I always like to start off with the big foot. The big toe. I always like to start off with the big toe. Slight little C shape. Just right out here. If you're confused about it, much like in drawing hands, you can always just add in a little curved line to kind of show, like, okay, how do I want the feet to go, right? How do I want the feet to go, right? And then, you know, you can kind of just go boop, 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 boop. And maybe there's a little toe, like, right over here. It doesn't even have to be perfect. You're just kind of sketching it in. You're just sketching in. All right, and then, like, you know, then you got, like, the little 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That goes up in one big tendon, right? That goes up in one big tendon, and then maybe a little bit of toe padding right there, right? It doesn't even have to be perfect. You can already tell that it's a fucking foot, all right? You see all these little C shapes that I'm adding in? See all these little fucking C shapes that I'm adding in? That's all it is. It's just C shapes. A little too sharp? Add in the C shape. Then you go up and over like that. Add in a C shape. So many C shapes. Okay. All right. Well, what if I want to do something on the tippy toe? Okay. Well, maybe I'll start with a C shape. Start with a C shape. And then I'll turn that C shape back around for the arch of the foot. Right? You see? C shape, C shape, C shape, C shape, C shape, C shape, right? C shape. There's so many C shapes. And then maybe this toe is going on some solid ground, so, you know, if...
102.5 FM, the Gripper.
Anyways, so, you know, and then we're gonna add in a little C shape right there, right? We're gonna add a little C shape right there. C shape right there. A big old C shape right here just to kind of generalize how the foot's going. And you can already tell that it's a fucking foot, right? You add in a little C shape like right there. It's a foot. Now, you know, you can always like adjust this, like, because, you know, right here is going to be the big toe. And then all the little toes and all that, right? And then all you basically really have to do is add in a little C shape, little C shape, little C shape. That's why I'm saying, like, drawing feet is really fucking easy. Alright, and now I know I'm not doing it justice right here. You make it look easy. That's because it is easy. You can do it. It's easy, so I know you can do it. It's just a bunch of C shapes. It's just, and if it looks a little funky, you can always just flip your canvas, right? You can always just flip your canvas, just like that. See all these beautiful, beautiful C shapes, and you can always adjust it to however you really want to do it, right? Now this toe is like pushing off the ground, if that makes any sense, right? And much like in hands, unlike in hands, right? Toes and feet will always go from largest, and then it'll slowly shrink down kind of in like this shape. Because in hands, you know, you gotta like go whoop, and then it goes down, because like your middle finger is like a lot longer than all your other fingers for some up reason. But like in your feet, right? It's literally just like largest toe, slightly less large toe, slightly less large toe. Why are you flipping us off?
Because
One gifted sub right now, and I'll show you guys how to draw furry feet. Oh my god, okay, it looks like okay! You guys wanted to draw furry feet, okay. Son of a goddamn. Okay, thank you, Morality, for the gifted sub! Alright, well, let's go into more or less depth on how to draw furry feet. God, I can't believe I'm explaining this. Alright, you guys know dogs, you guys know cats, right? I'm an artist, so it's good that I know this, okay. So you got like a flat foot, right? You got like a flat foot. So, you know, you can always, just like what we did before, start with a C shape. Start with a C shape, right? You know, you got like the flat foot model, right? So this is where like it's basically just like a human foot, right? You got like the C shape kind of foot where it kind of just goes down, blah, 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 whatever. You got the flat foot variant, and then all you have to do for like the is, you see the flat part here, the flat part of the foot, all you have to do really is just arch that up a little more, right? That's all you have to do is just arch it up just a little more, and then go up here like this. So this part's here, this part's here. Does that make sense? And then you would have a little bit for the toes, of course, a little bit for the toes, and then that would basically just kind of go up there like that. You see how I'm just going with simple shapes right now? And then if you wanted to go full on furry, all you'd have to do is really take the heel and just bring it up just a little bit more. And then bring everything a little more down. Which doesn't make sense anatomically, and they wouldn't be able to fucking balance, but you see how I use the exact same shapes as drawing human feet for drawing this, right? So, you know, like, you would have... So I'm just gonna focus on these two variants right here, alright? That's all I'm gonna be doing, is I'm just gonna be focusing on these two variants. So, you know, for the flat one, of course, basically just like human feet, you'd kind of just go like that. Depending on how many beans, toe beans you guys want, you can always just, again, C shapes, just a bunch of C shapes. Just a bunch of C shapes. Just a shit ton of them. Just a shit ton of them, right? And then, you know, you kind of just go up and over, just doing whatever, right? And then maybe another C shape like right there. So you'd have like the beans, and then you'd have where they connect right here. It's just a bunch of C shapes. That's it. And there's no harm in looking up a reference. I'm just kind of like pulling this off of memory, by the way, so don't mind me if it looks a little weird, right? Don't mind me if it looks a little weird. And then, you know, of course, then you got like the heel right here that goes up there. And then you go, right? So, like, you know, that's one method of drawing it. And then for this method, right? For this method right here, if you are going more or less, like, you know, degenerate and all that, you know, you start with the heel. Again, heel, right? And then that would kind of go down. And now this is where you'd, like, start drawing in a C shape, like right here. C shape right here. C shape right here. You can already see it starting to come into play, right? And then, you know what? And then we'll kind of just go in there like that. It's not perfect. No pun intended. All you really have to remember is that there's a shit ton of C shapes, right? You know, in this case, you know, maybe there's like a C shape right there for like kind of like a pad. It's basically just taking this foot and elongating the bottom so that the bottom is kind of... It's kind of like drawing someone on their tippy toes, if you really think about it. If you really think about it, that's all it is. To draw them from underneath, again, you'd probably... You'd just like... C shape, C shape, C shape, C shape, C shape. You already got like a foot right here. You know, C shape, C shape, C shape. And then you got to decide, okay, well, these are going to be the pads of the foot. And then, like, you know, another C shape, right? Another C shape. It's a bit too good at drawing furry feet. Don't expose my side gig! I gotta pay rent somehow. Anyway. And then that's a joke. That's a joke. And then, you know, you can kind of just, you know, like... And then, you know, you can kind of just start drawing in all those beautiful little C shapes. Maybe nice circles for, like, the pads or whatever. And then everyone knows what a dog pad looks like, so you kind of gotta go... Ka-choo! Ka-choo! That looks like a wiener if I draw it that way. You can pretty much draw these however, which way you want. And then, you know, you can kind of, like, shade that in if you want. Again, it's all just C shapes. It's all C shapes. If you guys want to, like, improve your art, like, really, really quickly, Start drawing C shapes, C shapes, C shapes, C shapes. Thank you, thank you. There's gonna be like one hate comment on this video going, I'm a beginner, okay, and this video was not directed for me, and I'm gonna be like, flip your canvas and start drawing C shapes. We go and draw the C shapes, you go and draw the C shapes. You're gonna realize that after you start drawing the C shapes, your art's gonna look a lot more natural and less blocky. In the How to Draw Skulls video, I said there's a lot of C shapes. How to draw the rib cage and pelvis video, C shape. There's no straight lines on the human body. Now, sure, if you want to get like a pose in or whatever, and you just need like a quick little line just to kind of know like what direction it's going in or whatever, right? That's fine, you can do that, you know. Draw however you want. But if you're filling in form on the human body, never use a straight line. Unless you're going for something really stylized where you over-exaggerate a lot of the curves. You know, again, art styles exist and all that. Always use the C shape. Always, always. To show you guys that I'm not just full of shit, get to the time lapse! Or I'll just cut to it to save on editing of it being done. See how easy you can go from like a quick little sketch to this in less than like 10 minutes? See how easy that is? I mean, like, it's not even the best foot, but I just kind of shit this out, you know?